Hi everyone, Rachael here at the Walk the Talk podcast. Welcome to episode number 30. So this week I had the pleasure of being interviewed on BBC Radio Scotland on the subject of how to quit yo-yo dieting. So I thought I would share that interview with you on today's episode of the podcast. So the recording is directly from the interview, and here we go.
Now, for some people, going on a diet is almost a way of life, as it is of the same people coming off them is. So-called yo-yo dieting has mixed results. So is it actually better than nothing? And can you ever crack it and keep the weight off? Well, joining me to discuss is Rachael Watson, who thinks she's done just that and wants to pass on her effective way to lose and, more importantly, keep the weight off. And I'm also joined by yo-yo dieters Gary and Yvonne to tell us about their experience. So Rachael, first of all, what is the secret to yo-yo dieting then?
Well, I'm a nutritionist and I work with women to help them to actually stop yo-yo dieting. And a lot of the time people I think society these days makes it more socially acceptable to be on a diet rather than, try to actually change your lifestyle in a long-term way. And I am trying to change the way that people think about food and think about activity in order for them to actually lead a lifestyle that is productive to happiness without having to obsess over food with that sort of guilt and deprivation vicious circle.
So what does a typical yo-yo diet look like? This is where every so often you not completely fast, but you really cut down.
Yeah, so any sort of diet, a yo-yo dieting route revolves around some sort of restriction, whether that be restricting food in general or restricting a type of food or some sort of macronutrient is removed, like carbs or fat.
So you might be climbing the walls for a couple of days, but then suddenly that weight comes off because you've hardly eaten anything.
Yeah, well, basically, yeah. Either you've hardly eaten anything or you've removed something that you really, really enjoy. And it tends to happen very quickly. So you see really, really quick results with that kind of diet. It tapers off fairly quickly and it's very easy to get fed up with as well.
I suppose, though, there are advantages if you were thinking of going on a holiday and you wanted to look a bit trimmer, or if you were going to a wedding or something. It does have its benefits.
Yeah, what I would say, though, is what if you didn't have to do that? What if you felt good about yourself all year round, forever and ever? Amen.
But that would mean you'd have to ban cakes forever.
Not necessarily. I eat cakes. No.
But is yo-yo dieting, is it also dangerous?
It is, yeah. The long-term effects of yo-yo dieting are not only have a negative effect on your physiology and the way that your body works, but also I've seen in my line of work, and I've worked with thousands of women, that it has a very, very negative effect on their sort of social and mental health as well. Let's
get the experiences of Yvonne and Gary. Yvonne, how many yo-yo diets have you been on?
I would actually say, good morning first.
Good morning.
I'd actually say that over the 30 odd years, I've kind of yo-yo dieted, but I no longer do that. I've actually got my own solution to it. I used to eat over emotions. There's certain foods that I know I can't eat. Like Rachael was saying, like she can have cakes and whatever. I can't have that because I have that. It sets up something in me that I want more, and I'm addicted to more. Give me more food, and I've dieted my way up to 20 stone. And it wasn't the case of, it was like going to the different diet clubs. And diet clubs work for some people. I can't say they don't work. They work for some people, as you say, going to weddings or maybe going on holiday. That works for some. I went that often to one particular diet club that they invited me in their Christmas night out because I was giving the money that much. It doesn't work for me. So for today, I'd ended up, I was 9 years abstinent, which 9 years without picking up sugar and certain foods, fish suppers, that kind of thing, because I know that makes me want to eat more. And I go to a place called Overeaters Anonymous. And recently I actually went into relapse and put on 5 stone in a month and a half.
Wow.
And that tells you there's something. For me, I've got an eating disorder. There's something wrong with the way I eat. It's not just yo-yo dieting, and I believe there's a lot of people out there like that. And our fellowship can give you the chance to speak to people that understand that you're not just weak-willed. You're not just doing the things that you might go to a dietitian, and it might work, but equally it could not work, and then it makes you feel more in despair. For me, to get back out of relapse and back on board and doing what I'm doing well now, I kept going to my OA meetings, but I have to have a change of thinking. I don't diet. I get up in the morning and I have my food. My food's got its place. I enjoy my food, but it's got its place. I've got to look and not eat over emotions, because that's what I do. And that's how it works for me.
So you've completely had to change your relationship with food then,
yeah, totally. Food to me is fuel, and it's fine. I can enjoy it. I don't mean I don't enjoy what I'm eating, but I'm careful of what I do eat, what I put in my mouth, because for years I thought if I could get down to a size 12, everything would be great. And I got down to a size 12, but then I realised it's actually my thinking that's a bit off.
It's behind it all, yeah.
So I've got to watch. I can't kind of think, well, I'm normal, I can eat. It's a bit like an alcoholic with drink.
Yeah.
I know today that I can no longer pick up the foods that I used to enjoy, and that's fine. And I'm great with it. I get so much freedom.
Well, let me bring in Gary. I mean, what's your experience with yo-yo diets been?
I've been overweight sort of most of my adult life, and I would go on a diet for a few months and maybe lose a stone or two, and then the first opportunity that came up to sort of go off the diet, whether it be a holiday or a night out, I would come off it and I wouldn't get back on it again. And that cycle went on for probably up until about the last 3 years ago. And I was massively overweight, and I did join a slimming club. And the thing that changed it for me was actually going and getting weighed every week. It made a difference to me. So I weighed myself in the house. I had nobody to answer to, and that was a big thing that changed for me. I obsessed over the plan for the sort of first year. I lost 10 stone in the space of a year, and I've had that off for over a year now, and I don't even think about the plan anymore. It's just a way of life now. I know what I can eat, I know what I can't eat. I eat much healthier, and it's just a way of life now. I don't count calories. That's a way of life now.
So you would advise people not to go on yo-yo diets?
I think that the problem with a lot of diets is that you get a lot of people want a sort of short-term fix. One of the big problems is you speak about people losing weight to go on holiday, and they'll lose that weight to go on holiday, and then as soon as they've been to the holiday or been to the wedding, they'll just pile it back on again. And there's also people going on these fad diets where you're living in nuts and berries and shakes for a period of time. But you sit in an exit plan at some point. You have to start living a sort of a normal life, eating sort of normal food. It's not a sort of sustainable way of living. And I think it's different strokes for different folks.
Because I would find it actually harder to go on a yo-yo diet, because if you're going a day or two either hardly eating anything or really cutting back, that just drive me mad.
Yeah, I don't feel deprived of anything. I think it's a mindset. It's just completely changing your way of life. I'd sort of lost sight of myself. I was too busy worrying about work and kids and all the rest of it, and I just didn't realise I was getting as big as I'd ended up. And I had a sort of routine medical in work, and basically my blood pressure was off the chart, and I realised I've got 2 kids that I've got to be here for, and that was the sort of kick that I needed.
Okay, well, I'll tell you what, we'll come back to this in just a second. We'll try and talk through maybe some of the better ways to improve your diet. And we were speaking there, Rachael, we were talking obviously about the benefits. There are some benefits, I guess, to yo-yo dieting, but also the disadvantages. What is a better way in your view?
I think people have to start thinking about what actually makes them happy. When people come to me, they think that happiness is going to come from being a certain number on the scales or being a certain clothes size. But starting to look at what actually makes you happy would be the beginning. And then secondly, you need to start thinking more of a long-term process rather than a short-term fix. And that's quite a hard thing to get your head around, because most people want a really quick fix, which is, it's fine. We're all built to want a quick fix.
Are you saying that people should focus on the size they want to be or not?
I think, having a goal of being a certain size is a great idea, but it shouldn't be the sort of end goal as such. End goal being what makes you happy. Does it make you happy to feel like you're being deprived and restricted of certain foods? And that's a problem with diet, extreme, not even extreme diets, but any diets in a way that they're going to restrict your food, make you feel deprived at some stage. And I see a lot of guilt rising from food when people go on diets, and there's a better way to go about that, and that is to start changing small habits rather than trying to give yourself a giant overhaul.
That's part of having an unhealthy relationship with food, when you do see it as a kind of guilt thing, isn't it?
But a lot of people don't have an unhealthy relationship with food before they go on a diet, because a lot of people are not even, grossly overweight. I see a lot of people going on a diet because they think it's what's going to make them happy because they see other people doing it. And then, further down the line, people that have been dieting for decades maybe look back and think, well, actually, when I started dieting, I was 10 stone lighter than I am now, and I've been dieting for 30, 40 years. But
the obvious answer to the question, what makes you happy, for a lot of people is eating unhealthy foods. And that's really difficult to break that habit. If that's what you enjoy, and it does give pleasure to people. It gives pleasure to all of us.
It gives us instant gratification, so it gives us quick happiness. But generally speaking, an hour later, a day later, the sort of guilt and regret creeps in. Maybe you're feeling unwell, you have an upset stomach. So it does give you an instant gratification. Like, I will hold my hands up right now and say, yep, I would love to go head first into a massive bag of Maltesers because I know it would make me feel great right now. But in an hour's time, I'm going to have a sore stomach, I'm going to have a bloated stomach, and I'm going to feel like rubbish. And I want to teach people that you can eat a little bit of what you fancy, but it doesn't mean to say that you need to go all in or all out.
So we should focus more upon, not that instant hit, but think maybe 10 minutes later about how bloated we'll feel.
In 10 minutes? How are you going to feel in an hour? How is that going to impact how you're going to feel tomorrow, the next day? And
Let's go back to Yvonne, who's on the line. I mean, did you feel guilt when you used to overindulge?
I'd say not so much guilt, self-loathing. I hated myself, and for me, I know I can't have a bit of something, a wee bit of something, because I take that, I get a sugar rush. I take more and more. I can't stop. But the guilt, I'd say it was more depression. And feeling really down and useless and lack of willpower. You're this, you're rubbish. But the good thing for me now is there's people that the same as myself, and we talk about it and we talk it out, and we feel so much better without picking food up. And it's only for 24 hours. It's only a day at a time. We don't think that we'll never have, because I think if you think, I'll never have a bag of Maltesers, I'll never have that, I don't think anybody would be able to cope with that. But
it could have made you feel rubbish all the time. When you initially see something appetising like some chocolate, surely the first thing in your head is, I want this because it's going to bring me pleasure.
I tend to, like, the one bar of chocolate or the one thing wouldn't have been enough. I have to buy more. I'd have to buy a half a dozen, 12 maybe, because I want more. One bar of chocolate wouldn't just give me the pleasure. It make me feel that I need more. I just need more. It wouldn't do it for me.
Mm-hmm. What about you, Gary? I mean, did you feel guilt when you overindulged, or was it not quite like that?
I think initially I probably did. It would be, I wanted to lose weight this week, and I'm not going to lose weight this week because I've had a bar of chocolate, I've had a packet of crisps. But I mean, it's everything in moderation. It must be difficult that you can't have and they do say a little bit of what's bad for you is good for you. Mm-hmm. And it must be difficult if you can't have that treat, because it's just going to sort of spiral out of control. I've just learned that, I mean, I can have treats. I do still go out for dinner. But I say, Lorraine's situation is difficult.
It's a very different situation from yours, yeah. Uh-huh.
I would say it's completely different. Mm-hmm. And I have actually worked with people with food addiction as well. So I would say, is it Yvonne?
Yvonne, yeah.
Yvonne. I spoke to a dietitian last week actually about food addiction, and I would say I completely understand where you're coming from when you say that you have trigger foods, and I would say it's a bit different to just being a yo-yo dieter, you know, having trigger foods that you know you can't eat, and I completely get that because I actually do have that as well myself. So I completely understand.
But for the rest of us, then, it's not so much an addiction. It's something that we can much more easily break out of than in the case of Yvonne's.
I think so as well, but you know, it's got to start somewhere. So food addiction is something that is not openly recognised yet, but as Yvonne says, there is help there, and I would say it's completely different to, you know, being a yo-yo dieter as such.
And Gary, what would your advice be to people listening who have problems being overweight, maybe are overweight at the moment? I mean, just on the basis of your experience, what would you say to them?
There's going to be something that's your problem food, and it's just a case of you just have to suffer it and do without. If you really want to change that much, something has got to change. You can't just go and living your life the way it is and expect to lose weight. Something has got to give.
Isn't it usually more than just one problem food? It's not just about cutting cakes out. It's so many things that you eat on a daily basis that you don't realise that are bad for you.
I think with me it would be the case I'd maybe have a packet of crisps and then go, no, I've had a packet of crisps, I'll just have a bar of chocolate now, and it just sort of spirals and snowballs. And if you do have a bad day, just chalk it down to having a bad day, and the next day get back on it again. Just live a healthier.
So if you would like to learn how to quit yo-yo dieting, then you can download my book of the exact same name, How to Quit Yo-Yo Dieting, from the website. It's www.walkthetalklife.com. You can go ahead onto the homepage, scroll down just a little bit, and you'll find the download there for free. You can also download a How to Tackle Emotional Eating worksheet, and you can also get hold of 10 free Walk the Talk Life healthy recipes from the homepage of the website too, if you would like to do that. If you would really like to sort of go deep on finding out how to quit yo-yo dieting, lose weight and learn how to keep it off permanently, then Transform 21, my online 3-week transformational programme, starts again on the 5th of July, and we are now taking enrolment for this group, and you can find out more about that at www.walkthetalklife.com/transform21. That's the numbers 21. That's www.walkthetalklife.com/transform21. You can find out all the information there on how you can work with me on a personal level, and I can help you to quit yo-yo dieting forever. Thank you so much for listening to the Walk the Talk podcast. I'll be back next week to talk about eating environment and the effect that it has on your weight. So make sure you don't miss out. Please subscribe to the podcast and leave me a review if you have time. I would really appreciate it. I'll see you next week.